Total War Pharaoh dropped a new devlog about changes coming to the game's battle mechanics with the free Dynasty expansion that's supposed to release later this year. Now, I think this is coming as a surprise to many of us. I mean, I certainly didn't expect there to be any significant changes to battle mechanics with this coming update, but apparently we're getting some, so let's get into it. They're introducing a mechanic called lethality, which is essentially a critical hit system. In a nutshell, units will now have the chance to one-shot enemies when they roll a successful hit. Keeping it real, I'm not really sure how this improves the game in any significant way, aside from the fact that it may now look better when units are taking damage, because instead of just seeing the unit's health go down as models take damage, you will now also see troops dying from critical hits as that's happening. So it might look a little bit less video gamey and more immersive. Apparently the lethality chance will change depending on the weapon type. So axes will have high lethality chances, clubs will have low lethality chances, and swords and spears, I'm guessing, will fall somewhere in the middle. Now, one clear advantage of this mechanic over the current system is that it'll make archer chariots more effective at dropping enemy models, which should make them feel less horrible to use. It's going to be a toggleable feature, which is a real head-scratcher for me because the balancing around this mechanic could be really dicey. If the balancing in the game remains the way it is in the current build, then adding lethality will speed up the pace of battles. Assuming, of course, that the lethality chances are noticeable and aren't like 1 or 2% or something tiny like that. Like if axes have a 30% chance to one-shot kill on a successful hit, then we're talking about a significant increase in DPS unless they rebalance the stats of all the units in the game to account for this. I mean, think of games like Total War Rome 1 or Shogun 2, where units have 1 HP and they drop like flies on contact. It's not a bad thing. I prefer fast-paced battles over slow slugfests. It's just totally different from what we have right now. Pharaoh's battles in the current build are definitely on the slower side of Total War battles. But on the other hand, if they do rebalance all the units in the game around this new lethality mechanic, then turning it off will result in really slow battles. Unless they maintain 2 completely separate sets of stats for each unit in the game. That would be absolutely insane, and it would make creating new units via mods a nightmare to support both modes. I'm pretty neutral about this change overall. I'm all for adding in RNG critical hits into Total War, but this change is going to be one that just depends on the implementation. They're also going to let us manually select if we want our archers to arc their shots, fire them straight on, or let them automatically decide depending on the situation. Arced shots will have more range but do less damage, while direct shots will have less range but do more damage. This should make utilizing the high ground even more important than it already is. Like for example, if you're able to position your archers on a hill behind your infantry units, you'll be able to use the more powerful direct shots to fire over their heads and do tons of damage to the enemy without doing too much friendly fire. To me, these changes are strictly improvements. Giving us more tactical options and opportunities for skill expression is almost always a good thing. And these changes coming to archers are going to give us more opportunities for outplay potential. I mean, I remember causing some absolutely insane chain routes in Total War Attila by using Whistling Shot. A big question that I have about all of these changes is if the battle AI is going to be able to use them effectively. Now, I've seen the AI use Flaming Shot, but I don't think I've ever once seen the AI use Shield Wall or Spear Wall formation. Now, people on the Discord assure me that it does, but I can't for the life of me recall ever seeing it use either of those formations. This was a problem back in Rome 2 as well, where the AI's usage of formations and unit abilities were very hit and miss. Like, it used to drive me crazy that the AI would never put its hoplites into hoplite wall formation unless my cavalry was nearby to threaten them. It didn't understand that hoplites were more effective in melee, even against other infantry, with the formation enabled. So it just ran them around everywhere like they were regular spearmen. Am I nitpicking here? I don't know, man, maybe, but it just looked really dumb that the AI couldn't understand the iconic hoplite formation. Warhammer 3 finally implemented a system where you can separately adjust the AI's intelligence and its cheats, and that absolutely needs to make its way into Pharaoh, and it needs to be the standard for Total War going forward. I'm actually surprised it's not already in Pharaoh, considering how customizable of a game it is. My uneducated guess is that it's because Pharaoh is based on the Warhammer 2 engine and not the Warhammer 3 engine. They're changing up the way that unit visibility works as well. Visibility is being reduced across the board, which will make scouting more important than it is in vanilla. That said, there are now situations that give huge visibility advantages, such as being inside the perimeter of a forest where you'll be able to see out, but they won't be able to see in, or on top of a city wall. Siege attackers will no longer be able to see the defenders' units that are inside the city walls until the attacking units scale those walls and can see what's behind them. And just like the new arrow types and arcing shots, this could end up being a great change that adds more tactical depth to Pharaoh's battles. They also talked about the new battle maps that they're introducing for the Mesopotamian regions, and how they're significantly larger than the battle maps in the game right now. It's great that they're listening to player feedback about the game's battle maps being too small, but it's a little jarring that they're not reworking the old maps to match the increased size of the new ones. They're also bringing in a bunch of the maps from Troy over to Pharaoh, including the unique maps for Troy, Mycenae, Thebes, and Athens, which is great. The more unique maps we have, the better. Speaking of unique maps, they also showed us a screenshot of the city of Babylon in-game, which looks pretty awesome. I would like to see it more up close, however, so hopefully they'll give us some more teasers as the months go by. They're also changing the faction icon of the playable Assyrian faction called Hanigalbat. They're changing it from the picture of King Shalmaneser I pouring the ashes of the fortress of Arena at the gates of Ashur to a picture of Sargon the Great. As a side note, I love how when you put the new Assyrian emblem right next to the Babylonian emblem, it looks like the two Chads facing off meme. And that's everything you need to know about the new battle devlog. To be honest, it wasn't that exciting. I'm much more looking forward to the next one, which is going to be about the new campaign features. Hopefully we'll finally learn how the new Dynasty and Succession systems will work. There's going to be a Q&A on the 27th, and I'll be sure to cover that when it drops. I submitted a question about the AI and its usage of these new features, as well as the separation of AI cheats and AI intelligence, so hopefully they select that question and answer it for us. Let me know down below what you guys think of these new changes. Leave a like on the video if you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.